Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Surfside Recovery Podcast. My name is Brian Licata, and we just wanted to let you guys know that if you or anyone is struggling with addiction, to please reach out to Surfside. You can give us a call at 609-709-4205 or visit us at surfside.org and all of our social media platforms. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to the Surfside Recovery Podcast. My name is Brian Licata, over here alongside Mr. Ian Koch, our El Presidente Jefe. Blah, 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 blah,
Don't
blah.
touch the microphone.
I know. I'm trying to just get it adjusted right. We're here today with Jay. Jay
Fanelli. Jay Fanelli.
Jay Fanelli. Good, nice Italian name. I met Jay.
Is Licata Italian?
It's actually Irish. But
Irish?
Yeah, it's 100% Irish. You know.
He's messing with you.
So both of you are Italian.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yes.
So Jay is from Pinelands. I met him about
30 seconds.
12 minutes ago. So you want to introduce yourself to all our loyal fans?
Absolutely. Jay Fanelli from Pinelands Recovery Center. I've been with the company about 3 years now. I've been working in treatment for the last better part of 8 years. I'm also a person in long-term recovery.
Nice. So what's your role over there? What do you do with Pinelands?
A little bit of this, a little bit of that. More recently, my official role is Regional Director of Clinical Outreach for Discovery Behavioral Health. So we Discovery Behavioral Health is our parent company. They have a large base on the West Coast. They have, not only do they do SUD, but we also do eating disorders and mental health primary. So we have programs throughout the country. I think right around 80 programs throughout the country at this point.
You guys have 80 programs?
Yep.
SUDs, substance use disorder.
Yes.
Okay. Right.
80 programs?
Yeah. There's a lot of programs.
Holy mackerel.
Third largest national provider.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Behind who?
You can fact check me.
I believe it. Behind
I
who?
believe Acadia, and I wouldn't know
Like
the
maybe
number two.
Behavioral
NHS
or
maybe
Delphi
or something.
Not Delphi.
No. But a lot of their programs, like for eating disorder, are a lot smaller. They're like micro programs. Sure. So they do like residential, but it's with smaller beds, and they incorporate that. So each one of those facilities or houses counts as a different program.
Got it. Well, of course. Yeah.
And then most recently, we acquired, within the substance use division, we acquired New Life. It's down in Pasadena, Maryland. It's been family-owned for the last 36 years. So it's a community-based outpatient, in-network contracts, also treatment available for, they also accept Medicaid, mainly community-based. So that's been fun. I've been traveling a lot, getting down to Baltimore and Maryland for that.
Cool.
So how did you guys come to meet each other?
I remember. Do you remember?
Not a clue.
Wasn't that long ago. Maybe.
No, it hasn't been that long.
It was probably a little over a year ago, I want to say. And I was with one of my reps in the Pinelands parking lot, and he was like, "Yeah, come out and meet one of these guys. I think you're going to like him a lot." And I walked out.
Somebody was talking about you? They said that about you?
Yeah, so it's a backstory. So Pinelands in New Jersey used to be Ambrosia once upon a time. So there was a changing of the guard. It became Pinelands. You started when it was Pinelands. Where were you before that?
I was with Ambrosia as a rep.
For that facility.
For that facility.
Got it.
And I was the Pennsylvania, Maryland, and Delaware.
Got it.
And then Mike Darling came on board, and he took Delaware and Maryland, and I went just into PA.
Got it. So Mike Darling used to work at Ashley. Mm-hmm. We should have Mike on. Mike, if you watch this, you're coming on the podcast.
Lobo's his cousin too, right?
Correct. Your roommate's cousin.
Right.
So
Tall in the family.
Yeah, right? So whatever. Okay, go ahead. You can tell the story. I know.
Oh, I thought you were going to jump in and take over.
No, that's it.
So he was like, "Come meet him," and we walk outside, and it was warm. I don't remember what time of year.
It was nice. I do remember that.
It was warm, and
you had board shorts and a tank top on.
No, I'm not a big tank.
No, he was dressed, but his
but I was driving my van.
His van was out there, and I was just like, "Yeah, I like him," like instantly. Because if you don't know, that type of van is highly coveted in some of the things, the mutual, I guess, hobbies that we both share with live music and things like that. And it was a nice van.
So Jay likes Fish and the Disco Biscuits.
Yeah, did you know Ian's taking me to the Fish show in Atlantic City this year?
The Fish, all nights.
Fish show. Well,
I mean, Brian will be there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think you're
gonna have fun.
We're gonna go. Yeah, we're gonna go. Right.
That's right before my birthday.
Right. Well, yeah, when are the? Do you know the dates on that?
What is it? 12th to the 16th? No, it's
14th, 15th,
14th, 15th,
Of what?
16th
August?
of August.
Of August.
It'll be a good time.
All right. I do want to go. I would like to check it out.
It's gonna be fun.
All right. Yeah, I've never been and have heard lots and lots of Fish music.
It's always a good time.
Yeah.
I think.
I want to check it out. I don't want to have that contempt prior to investigation, so I think I want to check it out.
Just go in with an open mind.
Yeah.
You know.
We got to get Sean W down too.
Oh, he'll be here.
Yeah. So maybe we'll go. A group of us.
Yeah, a bunch of the alumni will go too. I mean, I know Jack is gonna go, and Kevin and Corey and.
So you guys took out the one-wheel boards this morning?
So yep, this morning. So I think, and maybe that's what we could talk about is like doing things in recovery. I think is pretty important. So let's talk about the concerts. Then we'll go back to the one wheels. So Jay and I have followed some of these bands around prior to getting sober. How long were you sober before you went to your first concert?
I took a long time off. I took better part of 4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was mainly because I would say probably right around 18 months, I felt very confident in the fact that I had lost the desire to use and life was starting to look more attractive without it. But partly what I always express to people in early recovery that like the music scene is I wasn't so much worried about the drugs, although it always kind of goes back to that. I was worried about the lifestyle because the lifestyle is a whole different addiction, know? So
What do you mean, like following the band around, or like staying out late at shows and stuff like that, or all of it?
No accountability,
Right.
no responsibility.
It's really similar to like any sort of like person who's in active addiction. Their lifestyle, there's no, just like Jay said, there's no accountability. There's literally one time you have to pay attention to, which is like, what time does the show start?
Yeah. Everything else, it's like
Everything else doesn't
autopilot and a
matter.
party.
So,
Yeah.
like yourself, if you're running around in active addiction, like you're not paying attention to any time, right? It's just like, I got to get high. I'm going to go do this thing. I'm going to party.
Yeah, short story. We can kind of segue into that to illustrate the point. When I was working at Heavenly, right, I spent a lot of time in the casinos. I spent many days in a row awake, and I showed up to work at 7 because I would get the first chair up the mountain to get to my cook job, and I get there at 7 o'clock. There's a little bit of sunlight out, and there's nobody there. And I'm kind of like looking around, doors are locked, and it was actually 7 p.m. The day
I did that too.
The day before.
I did that too. I did that.
I had my
too funny.
I had my phone set to military time after that for like 2 years.
I did that at when I was doing groundskeeping for Champlain.
So did you
College
miss
in
your
Vermont.
shift that day? Or
No, I was 12 hours
you were
early.
12 hours early. Okay.
Right.
I went home from. So I did landscaping 7 in the morning till 3 in the afternoon, and I went home, got bombed, passed out on the couch. I woke up.
Panicked.
I woke up at 6:45 and panicked. Was like, oh my God, I have to be at work. And because I was still in my clothes from the day before, I figured I just slept all night long. Grabbed my stuff and like ran to work, and I got to work and no one was there. And security like pulled in. They're like, "What's up?" It's like, "I got to work. Where is everybody?" They're like, "It's 7 o'clock at night." Oh, whoops.
That feeling you get when you wake up and you have to be somewhere, and like you know you're late, is the worst feeling.
Yeah.
And I haven't had that feeling in like 3 years, which is
thank
nice.
God, right? So anyway, so I primarily followed a band called the Disco Biscuits when I was using, and Do you remember in 2005 they were going to play those shows in Amsterdam?
Yes.
So I had concert tickets and I had plane tickets to those shows. The shows were March, I believe, 15th, 16th, 17th. Don't quote me on that. And I ended up going to AA March 7th, and I got sober. And
13th? Is that your
7th?
Oh, the 7th
Yeah,
is
the
your
7th. So I got sober, and I remember so I'm like literally getting ready to go to Amsterdam in the first 2 weeks of my sobriety, and I remember saying to my sponsor, like, what do you think? This is a bad idea. And he was like, man, how bad do you want to stay sober?
Yeah.
So I gave the concert tickets away and I ate the cost of the plane tickets and I never went. Damn. And coincidentally, I also took, I think the first sober show I went to, I was 8 months sober, and then I did another one about a year and a half sober. And then it was about 3 or 4 years sober where I went to like a string of shows in a row. And, and I talked to a lot of the Surfside guys, because I've taken Surfside guys to Fish concerts twice now. Mm-hmm. We did one night of the Baker's Dozen, and then we did one of the New Year's shows. And I talked to them about that as like, you can't have this become an addiction. You can't get cocky.
Right.
You want to stay on guard. And, Brian, you're not allowed to do that. You tell me I'm not allowed to touch the microphone all the time.
I think it's because my...
You're
it's because we
today?
usually do this at 10, and it's 11 that we're doing it now, so I'm off my game.
That's why.
I think it's really important, for people to understand, like, and I said this last night. I was doing a big book group down at the house, and, I said to the guys, like, you can do all this stuff you want to do sober. You just have to be patient.
Mm.
Has to all fall in line and be the right time. I think I might have gone to a show or two, and I remember it was challenging, and it was like not fun, right? But I was looking around and I was just like, this isn't the time, and I always tell people, like, when they come in, like, because it's usually, I got this concert like next month, and I'm like, you got like 4 days, like there will be many more concerts.
But that's the thing, and what a lot of people don't understand is, like, bands like The Dead and Fish and the Disco Biscuits, it seems like we've always been stuck with the mentality of like they're never going to play again. Yeah, like this will be the last show.
Well, there was a lot of questions. Absolutely. I mean,
for a couple of those bands,
like the Biscuits this last year, and then they just put out this whole run that they did, winter run, and then. But yeah, I mean, it's just like the thought process in active addiction of I need to be here, or because I'm gonna miss something, right? And like, I'm glad I took the time I did in recovery, because like through step work and things like that, I was really able to get in touch with, like, I don't carry that anymore. Like,
it'll creep back in a bit, but
a
it's
little,
like,
but it's manageable, and
yeah.
it's like I can reason with myself, right? Like, that Maryland show that I bumped into you, that was like spur of the moment. I thought it started at like...
Oh, the Fish?
Yeah, I thought it started at 8, it started at 7. And I'm driving down, I'm like, are you kidding? Like, I walked in, I missed the whole... That would have completely ruined me 12, 15 years ago. I would have been like, what the... But I was just like, all right, and I enjoyed it. Caught the last song of the first set, and then had a good time. It's... And to tie it back into what you said, like... You can do everything you want and then some in recovery, but it all is on the right time. Like, I remember the first year, it was like meetings, step work, lots of pizza, and lots of cigarettes, and like staying up unmanageable like till like 3 a.m. with like my friends in recovery, right? And it was just like go to work and do that 7 days a week, right? And then, I look back still, I'm like, that was one of the best years of my life, right? And I had no materialistic possessions. I could barely
concern.
Yeah, but I had really very little responsibility other than
pay your bills,
getting another day, and pay my bills, But it's like I remember in recovery when I started to branch out and be like, all right, like recovery has given me a life again, right? And not knocking anybody that chooses this, but I want to have a thriving life in recovery in the community in which I recover in. But I also want to find those hobbies, those things I'm passionate about, because I lost them in active addiction. And, in early recovery, people that don't understand kind of the live music scene, it almost seemed as if they were telling me you can never do that again.
Sure. Well, and not for nothing. Yeah, that's that. And so my beef has always been with the addiction treatment world is that it gives this impression to folks who are getting sober that like you can't have fun again.
Oh, totally. That was my biggest fear.
And for me, that's a real problem, especially, because like Surfside, we deal with 18 to 35-year-olds. You know, like I got sober at 23 years old. Like, how are you going to tell me like I can't go to a concert ever again? Like, that's unrealistic.
It's a life sentence of my life is over. And it's not.
And I think that, with concerts too, like I've also, like I don't go in with this like cocky attitude. I have some pretty strict parameters. Like I don't even know. So like this band, the Disco Biscuits, I listen to every single one of their concerts that come out, and I've listened to them multiple times. However, I'm really hesitant to go to their shows because they're smaller venues. They're typically packed. I don't like to be really close to people who are smoking pot.
Right.
When I go see Fish, I prefer the summer shows because they're outside. So if like somebody is smoking pot, I can move away from them. I like to go to Madison Square Garden, and I will pay extra for the third floor because the Chase Bridge, you can like walk around, you can move, you have a bit more room that
you can get away if you have to.
Because sobriety for me is not necessarily, and look, sanity has returned. This is not a daily occurrence, right? I'm going with sober people. It's not just me by myself, but I have the wiggle room that if there is a group of people who just are smoking pot nonstop and I don't want to smell it, right, I can't change them, right? The serenity prayer, accept the things you cannot change, courage to change the things you can, wisdom to know the difference. Like I can't change them, but I can move.
Yeah.
Right.
And I
you
can
go
roll somewhere
out.
else. And I think that stuff is really important. And
knowing how you feel going in. If I was jammed up about something, I wouldn't go to a concert, right? I'm not going to put myself in that space. I mean, more and more, I leave concerts with a tremendous amount of gratitude.
That I'm not in that shape.
Yeah, I can go to a concert until 12:30, 1 o'clock, and wake up at 7 o'clock and go to the gym.
Yeah.
Or like I don't really do yoga that much, but I remember I woke up and I was like, I'm going to go do yoga.
And I think, right through the step work, like some of the sanity that we're talking about, so this over Thanksgiving, me and my wife went to Providence Fish shows, and then we were going to go to the Uniondale, New York show. And I was having problems with the van. I was really stressed out about it. Things just were not. And then it was starting to snow, and the roads were looking like they were getting bad. And we had the tickets, and it was just like, you know what? Let's sell the tickets to somebody else. Let's just skip the show and go home early. And that's something that, like, prior to sobriety, I would have never been able to do.
No, that's the end of the world.
I would have gone to the show completely, like, worried about the van, feared up, worried about driving, and it would have been a nightmare.
Yeah.
So having the sanity to say, like, enough is enough. I don't need to do this. I think is really important. And I think that also brings us into, the one wheels. So we talked about it last week. We didn't put it on in the video. We are going to put it in the video this time. We're going to do that right when we're done.
Are we cool?
We're totally going to.
Yeah, nice. The batteries were dead last time.
The batteries were dead.
Just to let you know.
Sorry. But basically, so we took the Surfside guys out twice now. I've been out 3 times. I've been out 3 times. I took Jay out this morning. I literally had one of our residents. Actually, I've had 2 of our residents. We had a resident who there was an intervention done the plan was that he had to commit to coming to Surfside. What a bummer of an intervention. Usually they just got to go to treatment for 30 days. His family's like, you got to go to Surfside. And it was the girlfriend who was like, he's got to go for 6 months.
Damn.
He said to me the first day we were out, he said, I've never had this much fun in a long, long time.
Yeah.
We also had one of our guys, the one who ended up in the hospital for the collarbone issue. I saw him last night, and I was like, how's your arm? He's like, it's good. I'm getting some movement again. Mm-hmm. He basically ate shit on the one wheel and hurt his collarbone.
Again?
No. This was Monday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I was like, are you okay? And he had this like huge smile on his face, and he's like, yeah. And I was like, are you gonna go back out? He's like, absolutely. Like, I have not had that much fun in a long time.
Yeah.
Right. And what did you think of him?
I had a great time. I got on it, and in the beginning, first probably 15 minutes, I was like, I'm not going to get this, right? Like, I got it, but with activities and things like that, I want to be like good instantly. Because I've snowboarded most of my life, and, I've surfed since I was about 4 or 5. So I think I'm just instantly going to get on it and know how to do it. But yeah, it was a good time. When we did the first loop, I was like, I hope we're doing another loop, because I'll probably buy one in the next couple months. Like, that's like a gift of recovery, right? Like, and I don't think it's talked enough in the meetings I go to, but like, it's important to get hobbies and healthy hobbies, because I also spent the first couple years in recovery, even knowing what I knew and working in treatment, with my own, like, not demons, I don't want to even give them that name, but like mental health and depression. And I thought I was going to work through the step work to like fix it. And I realized like step work wasn't going to fix a chemical imbalance, right? And, at least the area in which I recover and the fellowship I choose to go to, there's a lot of people with a lot of time that like to play doctor, right? And I fed into that until I was strong enough to stand on my own 2 feet and be like, no, this has been something that has consistently been a problem since my youth, right? Sure. And like, I went to seek outside help, right? And but I remember years where I didn't really develop those hobbies, and then like that's where my life really started to thrive. Like, I started traveling, and early recovery wasn't easy for me. Financial.
And that's the downfall of early recovery, is you typically need money to do some of these things, right? And I think that's what, like, like what I was saying to one of our guys last night is, he doesn't want to take a job at Acme because he's smarter than
the average bear.
He's smarter than that. And I was like, dude, like,
humble yourself.
Just get the job. Start making some money. My first job was
at Primo's Hoagies. I'll never forget it.
Just get the job, get some money, and keep moving forward. Like, it's not.
But what it gives you is that structure.
What gives you structure, but it also gives you some money.
Yeah.
Just like $2 is better than $0.
Absolutely.
And I think with the hobbies and stuff, like, it gets to a point for me, like, my life has gotten so full. There's so many different things to do that I want to do. It's like, which ones do I really want to devote my time to?
Absolutely. I was in a bowling league, right? So there's a spot in Philly, and this is a good story, actually. So my buddy was the GM at South Bowl, and it's like an adult bowling alley and bar, and he's in recovery.
Like adult as in like
18 and up, 21 and up.
Because typically when people put the word adult in front of things, it means something else, like adult books or adult clothing or adult films.
Some of my
so when I hear adult bowling,
I just meant like to separate that they serve alcohol in that environment.
That's
people aren't naked. Basically.
People are not naked.
Which one is he running?
So this was a couple years ago, but it was South Bowl, and they had an industry league night, right, which was all the restaurant and bar workers would bowl in a league on Monday nights from 9 to midnight. And, he reached out to a couple of us, his friends, and was like, yo, do you want to make a team? right? We can be like the sober team, and none of us were good when we first started. By the end of the first season, I went from bowling like a 40. And this is stuff like when I was using, and I started using at a young age, right? And I was 11 at the time. I started smoking pot like habitually. So like my maturity level, it wasn't on point with that, right?
Still isn't on point.
I'm getting closer. I'd like to think on my best days. I'm functioning at like 22, 23.
Yeah.
But I say all this because like when I was younger, I wouldn't have done activities like that because I've been like bowling. I'm not doing it. Like I missed all the video game years because like I remember one of my sister's friends was over and was like, video games, and I just remember never playing again, right? I was susceptible, right? Because I wanted people to like me. But he said that, and it was like, yeah, I'll commit to that, right? Monday night. And so within the first year, it was like, could barely bowl 45 at the beginning, right? Never really bowled before since I was like young. By the end of the season, we were breaking like 130, 150, 160. I had my own bowling ball I was spinning it. I wasn't straight bowling, as I call it, like doing and like Big Lebowski where the ball's tucking in and hitting the pocket.
170 is respectable.
I can't get there anymore now.
Yeah, it's really not a bad score.
But like anything, it's addictive. Like we did that for 3 years straight. Like it was miserable. Monday nights, I was like, Tuesday was awful because you're playing till midnight. You get home at 1, and I was just like, I can't do it. It's not fun. It lost the the funness to it, so we all kind of, but we won 1 year. We won the championship. Awesome. Still have the trophy. I still think I have the locker in there, and I think I have my bowling ball in the back of my car because I played like 2 weeks ago with some of the buddies I was in the league from. We were like, hey, do you want to go bowling? I was like, yes. So, but it spans out, and you talk about that in early recovery, not having the means, right? I know what that struggle was like. I think most of us do, right? And I think that's what allowed me to get to the point I'm at today, and it taught me a better appreciation of finances. Mm-hmm. I literally grew up in recovery, right? Like I came in and I thought I was independent, and the step work really helped me break through that and to see like I was just a giant man baby, right? Like and that helped me tremendously. I mean, hobbies I've picked up over the years, I do woodworking. Like I refinish furniture. I had this set from my father that was at one point worth a lot of money, but I destroyed them with, stains from drinks and cigarettes and stuff. Right. And, I'm talking pieces that were back from the 60s, true wood. They don't really make furniture like that anymore. And about 5 years ago, I was like, I could refinish this, right? Spent about 120 hours sanding, and then by hand because it was so intricate, and then stained them. Didn't like this, redid it. That was a relatively cheap hobby. I'm talking probably $50, right? A lot of hours, but there are things to do.
And that's like,
because concerts aren't cheap,
No, concerts aren't cheap. But that's the stuff like with. So I'm never allowed to touch the mic, but you can touch the mic. Because you can't hear. And that's like, we really take pride at Surfside and like offering all this different stuff for guys, and not to say that they're gonna like get like they're gonna go buy a one wheel, the day they leave, but like some of our guys who've been on them are already considering like, oh, I don't have my license. I'm going to need to get to work. I could save my money and get one of these.
Mm-hmm. Quicker than
way
a car.
better than dealing with a car, and it's just
insurance,
as fun.
gas,
and
blah, blah, blah,
not
blah.
for nothing, with the traffic lights, you can probably get through town just as easy.
In the summertime, definitely.
Just as easy.
Yeah, if not faster.
We've got guys, it's February. I don't know when this is going to film, but we're filming it February 27th. And excuse me. And, we've got guys who went surfing yesterday, alumni.
Really? They were out in the water yesterday?
Yeah, Liam took them. They're trying to go out today.
Super windy.
I think it's too windy today. But, and that's the stuff, one of them had a board. The other one got a board pretty cheap.
Yeah.
And that's the stuff. It's like, got the wetsuit for Christmas. Mm-hmm. to have stuff to look forward to is so important. And I think that one of the major downfalls across the nation in addiction treatment is that it's too focused on avoiding the substance versus, finding something that gives you
new pathways that replace it. Yeah, because I remember a guy in treatment, right? When I went to like a state-run program. I just moved back from Colorado, knocked on my parents' door and was like, I need to watch the dog in the U-Haul. I need to go somewhere. And this guy, I'm going to butcher it, but he was talking about mistaking boredom for peace.
Sure.
And it hit me for the first time. Like, oftentimes you'd be like, oh, I'm bored, but you're not. You're like, and I think recovery helps transition you into like a place where you're content, and it's no longer boredom. It's like, I remember nights like the shore is a good point, right? We're not far from, the beach right now. And I remember when I first went down to the shore.
You do Ocean City, right?
Yeah. So my family has a place in Stone Harbor.
That's right.
And I remember I went down there. I was like, and I didn't even think about it beforehand, but I was like, this is going to be weird. What am I going to do at night? Because,
well, probably you're going to surf all day and then sleep all night.
Right, but I was so used to the surf all day and then go out until 6 a.m. and then sleep till a couple hours. And I remember just sitting on the back porch on the hammock and just looking at the bed, and I was like, oh, this is what that guy was talking about.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't boredom. This is just nice. Mm-hmm. So there's so many things like that. But, the hobbies, and I think what you guys incorporate, like you even bring a piece of exercising with CrossFit into the mix. Like, what people don't realize that does for you is, one, if these guys are coming out of early treatment, like, one, it's helping them sweat out and, like, go through post-acute withdrawal. It's helping them deal with some depression, underlying depression, like the natural, organic way. But it's also structure, and it's also like they're probably going to start eating better if they're into this CrossFit, right? Yeah. And it's the indirect things that are directly related to what we're doing in recovery and what we're trying to, whether it's doing treatment to instill kind of regimen. You always hear the common phrase, I always do so well when I'm in structure. But as a human being, like before I found recovery, I was so rebellious to structure.
And eventually, right, like I had to be the one to give myself structure.
Yeah, it can't be done forever.
And hold myself accountable to like, okay, yeah, I don't have to set my alarm, but I need to be up and moving by like 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
I need to be in bed by 10 o'clock. At some point, and I think that's where like, right, maturity through the steps and like the maturity in the recovery process, like eventually, you get to the point where it's like, okay, nobody's going to hold me accountable except me.
Yeah.
And it's time to do that,
I was having this conversation with my boss, and, some of the joys, right, is not everybody that works in treatment is in recovery, right? I would hope that it's not a condition, right? We have some very intelligent people that have gone through a massive amount of schooling that are very intelligent, and
but it is what it is.
Yeah, but I remember, and it's always nice when you can connect with like your boss on like a recovery level.
Sure.
Right, yeah.
And we were just having the discussion of like, and it was tying back to, he goes to a different fellowship than me, but it was tying back to the same origin of basically like recovery, and that selfless service tells you to say like yes when you want to say no. But then also there are points in your life where like no is okay, like if I do not want to do something, like I could say no. Mm-hmm. And it was just, I always enjoy having conversations where I hear somebody articulate something, a thought that I've once had that I've never shared with anybody. And it's like, my first thought is like, it's winter time. No, like I want to, but I'm always quick to say yes. And it's not like the type of service we're talking about at like home group or area level. I'm just talking about like, look, I love my sponsees to death, but sometimes after a hardworking day when we've been on the phone all day, I get that call and it was like, I'm in my car. I just want 15 minutes where I don't have to hear my own voice or anybody. Yeah. And I just pick up instantly, and
it happens to me almost on a daily basis.
Yeah, I just wanted to put that out in the universe and admit it, but no, it's like, yeah, it's just
want to shut your phone off sometimes.
Yeah, and it's but I built that relationship with them. And, my one sponsee has been sick and he's been struggling with, he's like, I'm going to a meeting, and he was like coughing in the phone. He was like, will you drive me? I was like, you're not getting in my car.
Yeah,
I was like, I love you, but like, take an extra day and don't go. Your fever just broke 2 days ago, you know? And he's got years in recovery. I'm like, I don't want you to have the recovery guilt,
Right.
Because you could go to that meeting and get everybody else sick.
Right.
So just a random thought I was having. I think I just went off on a tangent, but that's all right.
It's all right. It was a good tangent. So what do we want to do? We want to cut out on these things for a little bit?
Yeah, let's cut out. We'll do a real quick one-wheel tape so people know what the hell we're talking about.
A demonstration.
And until next time.
Yeah, we'll see you next week. Adios. Thanks again, buddy.
Take it easy.
As always, if you or someone you know is struggling, please reach out to Surfside. You can give us a call at 609-709-4205 or get us on the web at surfside.org.